All right, let's go and start things off with the handbag here. Now, depending on the type of bag you may have one that looks exactly like this, or maybe the same kind but a different color, or sometimes you may have one like this, or you may have something that looks totally different. But in most cases, they're basically designed the same way. You got the front here where you're going to be striking on, and then you have the back here where we have the straps. And depending on the size and the design of the bag, you'll probably have, most of them have two straps like this one, but you may have the one strap here. Like I said, depends on the design. Those are nice here if you have the plastic hand grips. That gives you a little more control over the bag when you're holding them or when your partner's holding them. But just the regular strap here works just as good, but I do prefer that one there. But when you're holding it, you know, it's simple, common sense. You just slide your hand up through, and on this one, on this design here, it's actually got it to where you can tighten it up. It's got a little slider there, and you can put the Velcro on it, which is very nice, I think. So when you're holding it, like for a punch or something, what I would tell your person that's helping you hold the bag is basically just get in like a short front stance. And like on the flock, if you're holding it for a front punch, make sure when you're holding it, or when you're telling your back holder to hold it up right next to their face. Obviously, you don't want somebody holding it right in front of their face like this, because you know what's going to happen when they hit it. It's going to come back and hit you in the face there. And I've seen that mistake happen. So when you're holding it, hold it out to the side of your face like this right here. I mean, if you get too far out, it's going to get awkward. But just have it to where it's comfortable and away from your face and the center part of your body there. So out to the side, not in front of the face. And let's see, like your back fist. When you learn your back fist and your spinning moves like that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold it out and maybe get like a half of a back stance and half of a fighting stance, just something comfortable. Because when you're holding the bag, you want to be loose. You don't want to be tensed up like this, and when they try to hit it, you're sitting there resisting them. And when you do that, you're going to hurt the bag, the person that's striking the bag, and you're also going to hurt yourself too if they're real powerful and strong, because you got those joints and that kind of stuff there that you don't want to damage. So when you're holding the bag, be loose and give when they hit it, because like I said, you don't want to work against them. You want it to be a natural. You want it to be natural. You don't want it to be something that's difficult, and definitely, like I said, don't work against them. So when you hold it loose, and when they hit, like if they hit it with a round kick or a back fist, just give a little bit, let it go, just go with the flow, flow with them. And one thing I would suggest, like when you get into your kicks and stuff, and you may not be as familiar, I would not hold it, this close to you, because people do misjudge their distance, especially when they first start the program or when you first start martial arts. So I would hold it out at arm length, and if you see they're getting a little close or whatever like that, you can back up or move to the side and stuff like that. So just hold it about arm length out, have a little bend in your arm. You don't want it straight out locked, because you can have injuries like that. So you want to give yourself some room there to move around and bend in there especially for your elbow. So arm length, not close to the face, definitely not. And work with the person that's striking the bag. You don't want to be working against them and, like I said, forcing, moving the bag. Especially, that's one thing I want to point out. Don't move the bag. Even though you are going to get some, you are going to have a little nervousness about holding the bag at first, and you might jerk it or you might move it back or something like that. But when you're doing it, don't be a joker. Like when they go to kick it, go back to me like this, and they miss the bag, and because there are a lot of injuries that can happen like that. So don't be a joker. Make sure when you're practicing, try to be 90% serious when you're doing this. So work with them. Don't move it back. Let's see. Oh yeah, one other thing. When you're picking out a bag, you'll notice the width here. There's more padding. I like the design of this one because it's larger, but on this one you have more padding, and you can see that from the side view there. And if you have someone that's a real strong kicker or puncher, make sure you look at the design of the bag, because you want something that's a little thicker for them. But if you're a kid or if you have a child that's in the program, I mean, this is perfectly fine, something thin like this. But once you get up into the upper ages or higher ages and stuff, you want something thicker, because you are going to feel those heels and knuckles and stuff like that once you get up to a certain age or skill level or something like that. So thicker bags are better for you know, I would rather have one in general, just a thick bag to work with, because they do offer the kicker or the martial artist more protection, and also the person holding the bag, because if you're holding the bag for a while and you have different people coming through, like here, if I'm holding the bag, you have your strong kickers and you have your, you know, your not so strong kickers. And I try to pick out the big bag, even though the thinner ones might be a little more, you know, easier to work with. So let's see, another way to hold the bag. Well, on your board breaking video, I'm going to get into holding the boards, but on this one, you can actually hold the bag like you were holding a board. And the way you do that is you just, you know, grab the sides, put your fingers, and when you're holding it like this, don't hold it, don't crowd the bag. Kind of have it where you're comfortable, out to the side there, and just when you're holding it, you want on this one now, you do want to have your arms locked when they hit, but once they hit, you want to, you know, give a little bit. You don't want to be just solid stone figure there holding the bag there. So, and once we get into the board breaking and stuff like that, I'll show you the correct way to hold the bag and stuff like that. But when you're doing board breaking, there is a right and wrong way to hold the bag once you get into that skill level. But when you're doing just the bag here, it doesn't really matter exactly how you hold it, just as long as you know, give the person kicking or punching enough room to, you know, miss a little bit or anything like that. So, like I'm going to say in the board breaking video, you don't want those fingers out here, because they will get smashed from time to time. So, let's see. When you're holding it, just stay loose. Hold it away from your face. And one other thing, especially when you got these strong kickers, you want to make sure the person holding the bag, you want to have sort of a decent, strong stance. Because you don't want to be standing, you know, straight up like this, and they go to do a round kick and you spin around like 20 times or flipping the floor or something like that. So have a little common sense, get down your stance a little bit, and don't be super loose, but be, you know, where you can catch yourself once they hit. Because like I said in the beginning of the video, you don't want to be super tense and you know like a stone, and when they hit it hurts them and it also hurts you. So be forgiving a little bit with the bag, work with them a little bit so there's no injuries on either side of it. So there you go, that's your handbag, and we will go to your large or body bag next. Okay, we have our large bag or body bag, depending on how you want to, you know, categorize this bag. But it's the large bag. It may or may not look like this, depending on where you get it from, or you know, because there's just different designs and stuff, like I said, on the handbag. But in most cases, you're going to have the front here, obviously, where you're going to strike from. And then on some designs, you have the handles on the side, which are nice, that you can actually get a better, you know, leverage for when you're holding the bag or when your bag holder's holding it. And then on the back, we have our standard 2 straps here that, you know, you can't do without them. So those are pretty much standard. And let's see. When you're holding the bag, one thing I want to point out is if you're getting someone to hold bags for you, make sure that you don't have someone that's, you know, this short holding the bag, you know, and then someone this tall or this big, you know, kicking it. You want to get someone that's about on the same level, because you don't want to be kicking a bag. I mean, obviously, if I was this little and I was holding for someone this big, I would probably not want to do that, because that little person's probably going to cut a couple flips or something there. But try to get someone your own size and your own strength and stuff like that. But, you know, it depends on the person, you know. Someone a little short, or I don't like to categorize people, but, you know, some smaller people are, you know, stronger than, you know, the taller ones. But just try to feel the person out if they're going to be able to, you know, hold the bag for you and that kind of stuff. Because, like I said, we don't want anybody getting hurt. All right. When you're holding the body bag here, basically, what you want to do is you want to slide one hand through both straps, or not through both straps. You want to slide it through one strap and grab the other. All right. Now, since I'm pretty much right, I guess I would say right-handed most of the time. If you're right-handed, I would go through with my right hand first, grab it, and set up this way. You know, obviously, if you're left-handed, or depending on the type of technique that's coming at me, I'll slide my left hand through, grab the strap here, and just place it on your hip there. But for this video, I'm going to show you on my right side here. Slide it through, like I said, grab, and position it on your hip. And you want to get, depending on the technique, you want, like if somebody's doing a side kick, or even probably a front kick too. Just place it on your hip, and your other hand, you're probably wondering, what do I do with my other hand? Some people grab the sides. I don't really, if I have a bag that's got the straps on the side, I don't really like holding the side because the top is going to come back at you some. So what I like to do is the way I mostly hold the bag is I put one hand on top and put the other one, and place it on my hip, because you can pretty much control, how much force is coming at you, even though you can't control the kicker or puncher or something like that. But it gives you more control over the bag, because, like I said, if you're holding it here, that bag's going to do this and twist up and stuff like that. So have more control. Just grab the top of the bag and bring it in close to you here, because if you're holding it way out here, that bag is going to come flying back and hit you, and you're probably going to fall down or cut a flip or something. So you want it close, or you can actually grab the sides or the top here like that. Just whatever you feel comfortable with. If it feels awkward, then you're probably not holding it the correct way, and you're probably going to have problems with it when you're holding it for the person, or when your helper is helping you hold the bag. So just be comfortable, be loose. Like I said on the handbag, be loose. You don't want to be super tense, but with the big bag, which is going to be mostly for kicks, you do want to be tense. You want to be ready, and you want to get down in your stance a little more than you would with your hand technique in the small bag there. So in close, not way out, and you want to kind of put your shoulder into it just a little bit, depending on the strength of the kicker. So get down in that stance a little bit, bend those knees a little bit. I would put more weight on my back leg, and kind of have that front leg up, to like if someone's kicking, like if I have a strong kicker, I'll lock his back leg and I'll let this front leg, kind of come up some, so that I'm not just, kicked back and both feet go flying back or something like that. So letting that front foot be a little loose and putting most of your weight on that back leg gives you some, flexibility and some, give and some space to give there, because you don't want to be, super tight, and when they go to hit, you just go flying back like this. So kind of be loose, and when they hit, kind of come in a little bit obviously after they hit, be loose with it, because you don't want to flinch, like I said, on the handbag, because that can mess the kicker up and also cause some injuries and stuff like that. And plus, if you're moving the bag and stuff, especially on the handbag, you have a good chance of getting hit with a technique, and you want to make sure, if you're holding the bag, you want to make sure they're just hitting the bag, because it's not as much on the big bag, but when you're holding the small bag, you'll from time to time get your forearm hit, or get caught on the arm or something like that if you're not 100% paying attention. But with the big bag, the main thing you want to watch out for is your when they're kicking, I would turn to the side, because when those knees, you don't really want to get those hit to the side. Even though when you're holding the bag, you're mostly going to be wanting to turn to the side. So, I mean, most people are going to be able to get their kick up to hit this kind of bag at the height that they need. So, I mean, you can adjust it, from the type of kicker that's coming at you. You can adjust it low or, up high from there. And let's see, what else can I tell you about this bag? Let's say you're doing a front kick. Someone's coming at you with a front kick. What I like to do is, now you got your side stance there. Now, what I like to do is get into a front stance, and what I do with that is, I just bring the bag out and I actually tuck it under the opposite arm. So if I'm holding it in my right hand, I'll tuck it under my left arm and just rest my hand on top of the bag, or my arm on top of the bag like this, and just kind of tuck it in close and have it real close to my body, so that, like I said before, you don't want it way out and then it comes flying in to hit you. You're actually going to cause yourself more damage than if you were to just hold it close and close that gap there. So, like if they're doing a front kick or something like that, or just basically any kick where they're pretty strong, hold it up close to you like this. I mean, you're gonna have your hand there, and it's gonna hit your body there a little bit. It's gonna after a couple of kicks and stuff like that, you may get a little sore. But I mean, for me personally, I think this is the best way to hold it up close to you, hand on top of the bag, so you can have control of the bag, so it's not moving all over the place for you. So, and just kind of try to feel your partner out, or whoever's hitting the bag. Kind of work with them. You don't want to be looking over here when they're hitting the bag. You want to focus on them, so you can kind of see where they're coming from when they're coming at you, because they may slip up or something, and you don't want to be looking over here and you come around and catch a kick to the face or something like that. So just make sure both you guys or girls are paying attention to each other, so nobody gets hurt, because there's a lot of injuries that happen just because one of the two people are not paying attention. So just be aware of your surroundings and your partners, and you should not have any problems, especially with this big bag, because it's pretty simple. You just hold it out, put that hand in there, and like I said, like I like to do, just hold it in close to you, and you should have no problems there. So I'm going to wrap this one up, and we're going to get to the big bag next. So see you then. All right, we are to the last section here with our standalone bags, or you may have another name for them. But basically, these type of bags come in two sizes. You have your small ones here for the kids and children, obviously, and then you have your bigger ones for the teens and adults. So when you're looking at getting a bag, make sure you. I know most places you cannot look at the bag in person and adjust it and see which one's right for you, because most of us like me buy most of their stuff online these days. So when you're looking at the bag, I'm 6'1", so obviously I would not want this small one, because it only goes up, let's see, it goes up about that high. So I'm 6 foot, and that's the maximum height there. That's probably what, about 5 feet, a little under 5 feet there. And especially if you're bigger, you don't want one of these small bags like this, because the higher the bag goes, the easier it is to tip over there. So if you have a child, or if you're younger and you're just going through the program on your own, well, I hope you're not younger going through this program on your own and have a credit card and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, if you got these bags, if you're working out in your living room and you got some, you got the lamps, and you don't want to break your mom's lamps and stuff like that. So make sure when you're setting these bags up, make sure they're away from something that you don't want to get broke, because once you get more strong, if you're stronger, and you're going to be able to hit that bag kind of hard. So you don't want it tipping over and breaking something like that. So watch out for that. And when you're filling these up, I would use water, because we do have a couple filled with sand, even though you can't go the sand way. I would suggest the water, because it gives you more, it works with you more, and it's not as, I would say hard when you hit, because if you fill it up with sand, that stuff is packed in there tight. It's like hitting a wall sometimes. So I would put water in it, even though these bags sometimes, if they fall over too many times, they do have a seam. So that seam can get a crack in it, and it will leak from time to time. But you can just put some super glue or Gorilla Glue on there, and that should fix it. But if you're looking for an easier way to transport these around, I would use water, because once you get sand in there, it's very difficult to move around. And if you're a small person, or if you're not very strong, you're going to have a very hard time moving these bags around if you put sand in them. So there's your small bag. The good thing that's nice about these is you can also, let me see if I can get it off here, you can take the tops off of these. And obviously you need to take the tops off, because you're going to have to fill it up with something. So, I mean, I guess it's neat, because you can actually hold these, I guess, a little bit if you're wanting to improvise a little bit or something like that. It's just a thought if you want to do that. And it's also got the rungs here, I guess you would say, and you can adjust the height. This one has three different heights you can use it for. Some have more or less, depending on the brand and that kind of stuff. So get this back on. Okay. One thing before we get to the big one here is you'll notice that is plastic, and like I'm going to say before, you got to make sure you get your knees up. And if you're not good on getting your knees up, and you have one of these, you will start getting your knees up very quickly, because that does not feel too good when you hit those, especially with like a round kick. Yeah, that top of the foot is very sensitive, and it can sting a lot. So, okay, we have our big bag here, which is mostly what most people will use. Same basic design. Like I'm 6 foot. This one goes up. Let's see. Sometimes I can click these, and sometimes I can't. Okay, there we go. I'm 6 foot, so this bag is, probably a little over 6 foot there since I'm 6'1" there or whatever. So if you're looking for something to grow with, this one is perfect, because once you get up to you know, higher bells and stuff, your kicks, hopefully you're stretching out daily or, you know, a couple times a week, and you can get those kicks on up there too. So that's just something to think about, even though, of course, the bigger ones are a little more costly. But I mean, you can also use this for stuff other than, you know, just hitting it and working on your technique. These work good for stretching out too. Just throw a leg up there, get you a stretch out, and you know, there's different ways to use. There's more than one way to use most equipment. So this is you can multitask on this one. I guess you could say so. Like I said before, make sure you check on the height, check on your height and the height of the bag, so that you're not mismatched. And make sure you watch out for mom's base. You don't want to break that. So be careful. And hopefully, hopefully you got a little something out of this. Hopefully you learned a little something in case you had no clue about holding bags, or you know how to pick out a standalone bag in case you don't have someone to work with you on a daily basis or a weekly basis on your technique. So hopefully this is a route you can go in if maybe these don't work out for you. So I'm gonna wrap this up, and I will see you in just a moment.